Now, this is pod racing, is the Star Wars quote I would use to describe Maul Shadow Lord so far. I've watched episodes 1 through 4, and I'm happy to report to you, if you haven't watched it yet, it's pretty dang good. It's a reminder of what Star Wars can be. In my opinion, there's only one other IP franchise that you could say could even rival Star Wars when Star Wars is good. And that would be no, not Star Trek. Go ahead and leave the room, Star Trek fans. You're not in the same universe as Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, which is the only franchise I would say can rival Star Wars in just grand, you know, how big it is and what it can be when it's good. Um, and that's what Shadow Lord is. It's a reminder of everything that was Star Wars before Disney stuck their grubby little mouse paws and started dirtying up the good name of Star Wars. Sorry, I almost had a stroke there. So far I've loved it. The story it's setting up very nicely. And if you don't want any minor spoilers, I'm not going to go into big spoilers. It's just, I talk about Star Wars on the channel. I kind of want to, give you my thoughts on it. But there will be spoilers. So if you plan on watching it and you're just waiting for like the entire season to be released before you start watching, you should probably go ahead and click off the video. Go watch it. Go watch a Let's Play of Resident Evil if you haven't played that yet. But so far the story is setting up nicely. Uh, Darth Maul, as you know, or maybe you don't know, he never actually died. He came back in the Clone Wars, and he eventually takes over the Mandalorians. We've seen this in the Clone Wars, and between that period and when we see him in the Han Solo movie, at the very end of the Han Solo movie, if you watch, you can see that Darth Maul shows up. He takes over kind of like an underground criminal organization. And this is kind of that in between period where the Empire is in control. Lord Vader is present, the Emperor, all they're already in their seats of power. The Inquisitors are around, all of that. All of that is currently going on. And in the shadows, get it? Shadow Lord. Uh Darth Maul is taking power. Uh but trying to remain, under, not be out there, undercover, keep it low key. And he's gaining power in the criminal world. So, there's the Pikes and then there's the Huts and all these crime syndicates. Um so this is kind of that story about Maul, but there's another little tangent here. Um and like I said, spoilers, there's these group of Jedi, these a master and a Padawan, Devin, and I forget the turtle's name. I'm just gonna call him Franklin. Master Franklin, um, who Maul runs across. And this is kind of going to be a new type of video. It's not just going to be my thoughts. It's what I think is going to happen. So everybody's kind of theorizing. This is kind of going to play off of George Lucas's original vision for the sequel trilogy, which was Darth Talon. Uh, I can see that. She is a Twi'lek. Sorry. Uh, and I think that's an interesting way to go. I just feel like it's almost too predictable. Now everybody's just saying, "Ah, it's Darth Talon, she's gonna, pick up as like the main bad guy in Rey's sequel trilogy. Like we're gonna run into her in the future there." I just think that's too predictable. Uh I really feel like they may throw us a curveball there. I don't know what it would be, but I'd say keep your eyes peeled that that may not be the case. Don't be too disappointed when that doesn't happen. Maybe like hinting at it, but who knows? So Darth Maul has like captured Devon. Devon is the name of the Twi'lek, and is trying to like make her see. his side of the force and draw comparisons between the two. And that's kind of where we are. Episode 4 ends on a cliffhanger with things just spiraling out of control. The local police force on the planet has had several run-ins with Maul. He's eliminated several leaders of the local crime organizations, and he's taken power. So, against the leader of the police forces, or not leader, but lieutenant, I believe he is. Against his advice, his robot goes and contacts the Empire, and that's where the last episode ends off. You just see a giant uh, star destroyer kind of overtake the city, and it's a great shot. And I've heard rumors. I don't hear it. They say you can hear like Vader's breathing underneath the score. I don't know about all that. I'll have to go and rewatch that, but I didn't hear it. I think eventually, as this goes on, Darth Maul will run into Darth Vader. I think that at first he's going to dispatch of some Inquisitors. He's going to kill a few Inquisitors, maybe with the help of Devin and her master, and eventually it's going to draw the attention of Darth Sidious, and he's going to send Vader out to take care of Darth Maul. And if you remember in Rebels, Darth Maul is terrified of Darth Vader. He becomes like a hermit, and I don't know if that's just an act to like gain Ezra's trust, but I don't think so. I think he encounters Darth Vader here, and they duel. And he may be close at first, Maul hanging in there with Darth Vader, but I think eventually he just gets absolutely demolished, but somehow escapes Darth Vader. And this is where I think they throw the curveball. This is my theory. I think that curveball is that eventually he gains Devin's trust, and everybody thinks, "Oh, this is going to be Darth Talon. This is going to be Darth Talon." But what if that's how Maul gets away? He throws Darth Talon to the wolves, Darth Vader, and escapes. And then later on, eventually, Vader or Maul reconvenes. Comes back into the story, meets Ezra. They go through that story arc, and then eventually dies on Tatooine to Obi-Wan. I think that's what's gonna happen. That's my game theory, and, as you know, episodes drop every Monday, 2 episodes, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. One thing I'm definitely not wanting is some of the show writers were saying, uh, you know and I think they need to stop doing this, they were saying, "Well, maybe Maul isn't dead," and please don't do that. I think the ending for Rebels was perfect. I think it was the perfect send off to Darth Maul. In a way, it kind of, to me, mimics like Vader on the Death Star. Um, he was always full of so much hatred, but at that point, he realizes that all Maul has ever wanted was revenge. He wanted revenge on Obi Wan. He wasn't able to get it, but more so than Obi Wan, I think that the Emperor, and the Empire kind of take the cake for hatred. Yeah, he hates Obi-Wan, but I think the Emperor kind of takes that number one spot. And him hearing that Obi-Wan's training the chosen one who's eventually going to avenge him is like the perfect ending. He doesn't, he dies there on Tatooine. Obi-Wan's like talking to him, consoling him as he's dying there in the desert. I think that's just perfect. I think if you do anything beyond that, it's just too much. People can die. It's okay. Like I think Riva should have died. Uh, I think that who's Sabine. I mean Sabine getting stabbed um should have died. But it's okay to kill people off and then keep them dead. But yeah, those are my thoughts on All Shadow Lord so far. There's 4 episodes out. So far, the last episode was the best, and every episode has been good. Each episode getting a little bit better, uh, fleshing out more and more of the story, and I'm excited to see where it goes this Monday. Yeah, thanks for watching. Leave your comments and thoughts below. See you in the next video. Peace.